And we're live.
Don't come till you act calm, dog. Can't forget where you're from, dog. We reap the seeds we sow. My people, it's time to prove. I had a dream. I woke up in a black space. First I seen a black god with a black face. Seen black hands working black soil, doing black business. Doing black wealth, that credit card got black pigment. Black family, black queen and my black seed. Black thought, only focused on black need. Black power, symbolized by a black fist. I'm a black hero, ended up on a black list. I mean blackball, ostracized for their black skin. Blacks out of history, they don't want blacks in. Shalom to the black teachers and black scholars. Waking black minds, manifesting more black dollars. That black magic, black love and that black light. Black star, illuminating the black night. It's a black fight, and I ain't talking no black crime. 1 million black shovels at the same time. Black light, you gon' come till you had come, dog. Stick to your black root, if forget where you from, dog. Black light, we reap the seeds we sow. Head black to the dark, my people, it's time to grow. Light, it's gon' come till you had come, dog. Stick to your black root, don't forget where we're from, dog. Black light, we reap the seeds we sow. Head black to the dark, my people, it's time to grow. Yep. 1 million black shovels at the same time. 1 million black shovels at the same time. 1 million black shovels at the same time. 4, 3, same time. Black life, it gon' come till you had come, dog. Stick to your black root, can't forget where we're from, dog. Black light, we reap the seeds we sow. Head black to the garden, my people, it's time to grow.
Good morning. We're back once again with B1AG. You heard the song, 1 million black shovels at the same time. Here at B1AG, we're looking at black agriculture, marketing, education, economics, the politics behind black economics, black agriculture, nutrition, wellness, all for the black family and the black community. 1 million shovels at the same time. April 3rd, 2021, 4321. Our goal is to have 1 million people of color, of melanin, putting shovels in the dirt at the same time. 1 million shovels in the dirt at the same time. Y'all hear that? 1 million shovels in the dirt at the same time. That's the goal. Because we're beyond the tipping point of needing to increase the number of black farmers, increase the numbers of natural food producers, increasing the number of our presence in our local food system. You know, we're beyond the tipping point. And today we're going to look at one of the things that combats or is a roadblock for us to hurdle when it comes to black agriculture, and that's the negative stereotypes of agriculture. Some of it's obvious, some of it's not so obvious. But we're going to approach this subject today about the negative stereotypes in agriculture. You know, do you believe they exist? Is it real? So Farmer Brown, hey man, let's give him this daily bread, man. You know, let's give him something nutritious to start their day. This daily bread.
A lot of times, when you're a kid, large corporations understand I want to have a lifetime consumer. Whether I'm selling you sugar water in the form of pop, I'm selling you sugar and some other chemicals in the form of candy. I want this to be palatable to you. If I told you what exactly this was, you probably wouldn't eat it. And these are negative things. Typically, negative things you have to add things to them. You have to add color. You have to have unnatural flavors to make it taste good. But in a way, I would assume that this same dynamic exists to the opposite. Sometimes there are great things, great opportunities in front of us, but because of our negative perception of it, be it conscious or unconscious, our family culture, the values within our community is going to dictate whether we pursue this or not. Here we talk about agriculture, but in a sense, this covers everything, all areas of human activity, whether we're talking about politics, sex, religion, war, education, and in this situation, food systems. And so if in our minds, we've been socialized to not see ourselves as contributors, we've not seen ourselves in the tutelage of a Booker T. Watley, a George Washington Carver. If we don't see ourselves as being within those fields, then, how well will you excel? LeBron James saw himself as the best basketball player in his mind at a time. It might have been when he was a young kid or when he first started playing basketball. But because he believed that he could be the best player in the world at playing basketball, his life action, his practice, his dedication, his thought, his speech, the moves he's made, the friends and relationships he's made has all been conducive for him being the best basketball player on the planet. When we think about our long history of agriculture, a lot of times this is what comes to people's minds. I got a couple more images like this I'll share throughout the broadcast today. This is from a good friend of mine. She's rest now. And this is her series, The Saga of a Black Family by Rosetta Lucas Quisenberry. And it basically just went over some of the pictures. These were actually postcards. And this is in the 1900s. These are postcards that were sent to people. Hey, hope you're doing well. To give you a good laugh. These are the images I want you to see. Now, this was the back of an envelope at a time. I was having a discussion with somebody the other day. We think about the Super Bowl. So everybody, it's religion to eat some sort of chicken product on the Super Bowl, whether you're talking about wings, whether you're talking about chicken nuggets, throwing something on the grill, and watermelon. Come Memorial Day, all around the country, all around, whoever has access to watermelons, we indulge in watermelons. And so it's interesting how certain images can, give a negative stereotype about something as simple as chicken or watermelon. This conversation is relevant to B1AG because both of these are agricultural products that at a time, whether for profit or through bondage or through some sort of nefarious business dealing, our ancestors got good at growing these very effectively. Our ancestors that toiled in the field growing, say, watermelons, raising chickens, they didn't have a lot of the modern amenities we have today, a lot of the equipment, the chicken tractors, the farm implements. So a lot of this was done by hand. Who needs pesticides when I got a whole bunch of these black folks out in the field to go out every day and tend to these plants. And so that time that our ancestors spent in these fields, and this, it lends to a whole nother conversation about that, what that relationship was. But the time spent within these cultures where we were actually producing, our genes picked up the skill to get good at this. Now, within our genes, I have certain habits, just to be, transparent. I have certain habits that I started, say, at age 16 that will require my hands to do this. And I noticed my twins. And so I was 38 by the time I had my twins. And I noticed my daughter does this. She sucks on her thumb. And my son, he sucks his thumb like this. Now, they don't know the concept of what a blunt or anything like that is. But because dad's arm did this so much over the course of my life, my fingers did this so much. Same way as an athlete. Generally speaking, you're going to have more athletic kids if you have two athletic parents. This is epigenetics. It's one of those things, sometimes if you're a dishonest person, you don't want to see those traits in your offspring. But if we're thinking on a community level, As a parent, the children I'm raising within my household, they're going to be members of a community one day. The way that they approach this community, do they approach this community as somebody like, hey, you owe me something? Or do they approach the community as, hey, I'm here to build something. I'm here to contribute something. So all of those are dynamics that we control within our home. But when we think about why do we value what we value within our home, we know that there's a lot of real dynamics. You know, no Illuminati cap, no tinfoil kufi, no Rothschilds. It's just the nature of how we socialize. And you and I were discussing a little bit before today's podcast, just there's specific areas where this is studied. And if you could, man, kind of touch in on that. These concepts that dictate the way we approach the world and commerce and one another.
Well, one of the things is that I don't think people understand, unless you've taken like media literacy courses or really study, is the way social marketing is used. Social marketing is the use of commercial marketing principles and techniques to improve the welfare of people in the physical, social, and economic environment in which they live. Now, that's the happy definition. That's the positive connotation. But at the end of the day, the social marketing is used to change the behavior of people. We're steered like cattle in our minds through the way products, services, and life is marketed to us. And a lot of this goes on subconsciously, and we're not aware of it. Like I say, unless you are very media savvy, just understand the purpose of media and the techniques they use, marketing techniques and tools. We are marketed, everything is marketed to us, and it affects us in our behavior, and we can be remote controlled basically through commercials, through commercial marketing principles. The same principles that will make you want to go and get this burger or buy this type of car or wear these type of clothes. That's the same marketing that's used to steer what do I want to be? What do I want to accomplish?
I think one of the greatest examples of that, I mean, let's think about when the virus hit last year. I would say what, March, February 24th, 2020, masks were something that, we've seen pictures of people in Asia wearing these because all the smog, all of the industry going on over there, the air is horrible. And so
Michael Jackson's crazy.
Right. And so, we see that, okay, there was, what does it talk about? Welfare of the people. And so in America, we're able to kind of look at it through our screens and say, oh, this is a thing that people are going through over there. Once again, it's under the mindset, okay, y'all's air quality is kind of bad. And so, like I said, the end of February 2020, there was not a mask market unless you were selling it to the people in Asia who lived in these highly industrialized areas. I mean, we're literally the first step of it was the toilet tissue. The toilet tissue. I know within our house, I mean, we keep a nice amount of toilet tissue, but and so we kind of try to pride ourselves and at least let's try to look at things in perspective. But it was marketed that toilet tissue, there's a problem, y'all. There's a problem. I mean, there's this pandemic hitting, and I think it was a test personally. The conspiracy theorists in me think somebody really. Now let's test this out first. See how gullible, or I don't want to say gullible. See how compliant, the livestock will be. So the first thing was in the midst of something that could get you sick, a virus, something that's airborne. Obviously scientists are still in the process of learning about it. But I marketed to millions of North Americans. We're talking about America, to go stock up on toilet tissue. Right. Nobody went and stocked up on certain foods, batteries. It was toilet tissue. And one has to wonder, why did millions of people that I didn't see, the people that was in California that went and raided the stores for toilet tissue. I didn't meet the people in New York. Outside of people I saw on my social media timeline, that's the only reason I knew that toilet tissue was now something to be, this is a crisis. And so thinking about this concept of valuation, because now, I saw on these screens that it looks like everybody around the country is getting toilet tissue. oh my God, baby, we got to get some toilet tissue. And nobody thought, like, how is toilet tissue going to protect you against a virus? Is that the best thing to get? I don't know what's the best thing, but I think that's a great example of social marketing, to where now you're not going to go in any store, any gas station, anywhere without there being masks, little cute masks. Hanes has masks. I've noticed some young people going around selling masks. Once again, the goal is to improve the welfare and well-being of the society. But when we think about the importance of social marketing, a lot of times we think of marketing as just a product. But on a farm, livestock is a product. That's why they'll tell you in livestock production, don't name your livestock. That's why we have social security numbers. I don't want to see you as a person. I need you to be a part of this process. And so once again, just to point out the importance and the very, I'm going to play devil's advocate on the good side of social marketing. If you want to be the devil. And so the good side is, how will we know to wash our hands? Right? There was a time our ancestors, there was no such thing as a water faucet. Depending on your knowledge of history, the Moors met the people in Europe, showed them how to groom. That was marketing. The Moors that met the Europeans who hadn't, practiced hygiene or whatever, coming into, seeing the rest of the world. There was a way that the Moorish ancestors marketed that, hey, if you do this action of, this water, a cleaning agent to get the bacteria off, then you put food in your mouth, you kiss somebody, you hug your babies, you live longer. Think about how long it took. Okay, Europe, there are millions of people spread out over a relatively large piece of land. And so you got to think about, now, how did these conquering nations, if you want to call them conquering nations, get this word out? Like, how did everybody in Europe figure out, oh, we got to start washing our hands? Same way with North America. So if the colonizers came from, say, the South, coming into the Gulf, I know on a car, coming from Kentucky, driving out to Cali or something, that's going to hit you for some hours. Even the plane ride is long. And so you got to think, how long would it have taken for the word to get to every nook and cranny? This is before an interstate, before GPS. How long would it have taken to get to people? And so we think about the importance of marketing. That's what the news was. That's what the Postal Service has been used to do. Like I showed you some of these pictures. These were postcards. These were sent to the United States Postal Service to people to say, hey, baby, have a nice day. And what was marketed, and this is going to tie into what we're talking about later, is it contributed to this negative trope, this negative mindset about our ancestors. If I'm a white person, I've been in the middle of Nebraska for the last 2 generations, never really came across these brown people. And through the mail or through a book or through a publication, I see a picture of these people. If I have nothing to balance that against, I'm going to assume that this is what these people are. And so inevitably, if I'm occupying the same space with them, I will eventually run into them. And so since we have been dehumanized, like, oh, no, don't look at these people like, human beings, creations of the God you say you're wanting to help these savages with. No, I need you to see them as less than. And so by marketing, this keyword marketing, that image, it now justifies in some people's mind a behavior towards what has been devalued towards you. And I'm not going to dig too deep, but that's one concept I actually want to revisit it later, social marketing. And I think it was another one that you brought up.
The other one is social engineering, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. So you have social marketing, which uses commercial marketing principles to change your behavior. And then you add social engineering on top of that to manage that change. So it's like social engineering is like Chrome or your browser, which type of browser that you use is going to manage your change. So if you look back at all the images of slavery, think about all these slave movies, and how that affects us and how we see agriculture. Think about the character of Mister from Color Purple. He was a farmer, and just the way he made the projection of what a black man farmer was, and is. All of this helps to steer us and look at agriculture in a negative way. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a part of that. Look at that, and it makes you think, oh, look at that. All of them are broke. There's no money in farming. There's no money there. And at the same time, while they're telling us and putting these images of us, and we don't value it, we don't protect it, and therefore they come in and take it. When we
I don't
were,
gotta take it if you're not protecting it, if you neglect it.
it's like picking up a penny on the street and turning it into $1 billion. Well, you think
Hey,
it's
bro.
you think it's
So
a
I
penny
came
on
up
the
in the
street.
1980s. I was in I was in what, fourth grade. This is my fourth grade social studies book, right? I know a lot of people watching, this.
Man,
So I'm gonna give you a quick timeline, man. So this was the first image that I saw consciously of black folks in agriculture. This is what, fourth grade. And this is all it was in the book. It was literally a paragraph, because I think this was the colonies, going into the colonies, New England colonies. And that was the only picture I saw. I'm a black boy. I got access to images of, by then, Michael Jordan. I wasn't into rap music yet, so back then it was still Michael Jackson. Bo Jackson too. I remember Bo Jackson. There used to be Bo Jackson pictures, on the wall. But saying that to say, that was my first image of black agriculture. My relationship with the food system. I remember my mom had a little garden in the backyard, and my granny and them had they did a whole big field of greens in the back, but it wasn't anything nobody discussed. I remember sometimes if I was getting on my mom's nerves, when we'd be down south visiting, she'd be like, "Hey, well, you come help me shell these peas." And I find something to do. But it's, as far as it being a commercial endeavor, as far as it being a business, as far as this being food security, in my mind, hey, this is what a store is for. And so mixed with that image from my social studies book in fourth grade, and I think it was around that time, this is when you only had like 3 channels. We never had cable growing up. But I remember they had the Roots series with LeVar Burton. And I remember my sister and I and my mother, we watched it together. I think it might have been 3 nights. It was one of those miniseries. And, looking back once again, this whole movie, the background of it was an agricultural background. This is a plantation. What is the base word of plantation? Plant. What is the activity of those occupying a plantation? Planting. What is the purpose of a plantation? To generate revenue, to generate money, to produce something and to sell. And so my first, I can only speak for myself, my first interaction with that concept, for one, with Mama and Ma, that was my granny's name, saying, "Hey, either you gonna go find something to do or help us shell these peas." That's one thing, that's petty. Nah, I'm cool. I'll go play ball or skip rocks or something. Second, okay, in school, where we're supposed to be inspired to, go into the world, get educated and get a career, this was my first image of somebody that looked like myself with farming. My second image was, your typical American caricature of a farmer, an old white man, straw hat, corn cob, Purnell sausages, right? I don't know if they see Purnell sausages everywhere, but that's a big product around here. They sell pork. It's Purnell's rather popular name. Think about Purdue. I know Purdue is big in Georgia. So these are the images that we have in our head subconsciously of what agriculture is. And it's very limited to these caricatures. We don't see past the, why would Bob Evans or whoever runs this operation or Purnell put on overalls? Oh, it sure is good. Why would they say that? Because they know they're marketing to somebody. I want you to buy my product. When it comes to our images, because as hip hop drives the world. At the end of the day, we drive the culture of what's cool in the world. And I think it's very ironic, the thing that actually created civilization, the ability to produce food, is the one of the elements that we're least represented in. And so I think, obviously there's nefarious activity behind it. But I think a big part of it is the effectiveness of just the marketing. I don't have to fight you if you're not trying to get over this fort. On the other side of this fort, I got a big piece of land that you actually have a natural advantage. You could get a lot more out of this land and make this a lot more profitable to you. But if you don't know that this is valuable because I made you think that this land behind me, oh, this is just dirty. You want to go up to Chicago. You want to go up to New York. Juke joint. Oh, you want to turn up, woman. Don't sit on the farm with this old man and this mule. That goes back to what you were saying about Color Purple. Once again, so I came up in the house with my mom and sister, so it was 2 women. That was another show that we watched together. Oh, it's funny you bring that up. Color Purple. This is when Oprah started popping. She became the icon of what a successful Black woman is. The women in my family weren't too much Oprah fans, more so than, they were very aware of their femininity. They were aware of, I'm a Black woman operating in this world that don't seem to favor me. They were aware of that, but I remember the impact. I remember the little conversations they had, while the movie was going on about men. Me, I'm a little boy, so I don't know how anything's supposed to be. I'm just listening to the 2 women I'm around, and I remember it was disparaging. I remember my mom would talk about old stories when she was down on the farm, and what that story did, we know it was just a story. It was just a story. Some people got paid to get in front of a camera. A director say, "Hey, walk this way. Bat your eyes like this." And so that depiction of somebody's book turned into a legitimate, real, indelible thought into hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Black people's minds. I don't know if it affected men so much as women. I try to be empathetic and put myself in a woman's perspective. If I was a woman watching that, no, there was nothing about that would inspire me to pursue an agrarian life. If I was a woman somewhere on a farm and I saw that, I'd be like, let me get out of here for this man start trying to beat on me or something. You know what I'm saying? If I was a woman that made it to the city, I'm like, I'm glad I left the South because, that could have happened to me. So saying that to say this marketing, there's a reason why it's called TV programming. Programs. You market through programs.
And in essence, we've been programmed not to value what is the most valuable. Because again, agriculture, that's how you start a society. If you can't feed the village, there will be no village. You go back and look at Black Wall Street. There was more than one. It was more than Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was just one of the Black Wall Streets in the country. And the foundation of all of these Black Wall Streets, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Durham, North Carolina, the Hayti District, the foundation of Black wealth is always been in agriculture. Because if you can't feed the people, there aren't going to be there's no economy. There's no people to even, there's no people there to create an economy, to sustain an economy. So the food, which is tied to the land and land ownership is another key to wealth. We've been marketed, socially marketed to look at this negatively, so we don't value it. And when you don't value it, it gets taken. We don't protect what we don't value. That's like, it's kind of off the subject, but it's on the subject. If you look at the way Black men and Black women interact with each other these days, we're not valuing each other. We've been socially marketed to not value each other. All men ain't, Black men ain't, and Black women they ain't, see what I'm saying? And so if we allow these people to puppeteer us through social marketing, we're going to get tricked out of everything of value that we have. And that's basically what happened. And that's what's happening.
Look at the practicality. You just said something deep. Look at the practicality of it. Take my male ego out of it. Take the distressed woman ego out of it. Let's just look at it. We're 2 organisms that occupy space. I mean, it takes 2 to make a thing go right, right? And so you realize when we talk about building family wealth, to build community wealth, you have to have healthy families within this community to build wealth. If you're operating as an individual, no matter how smart you are, you're going to spend more. This is why co-ops are important. The more people you have going in on a common objective, whether this is a business endeavor whether it's the direction or culture you want your household, whether it's a social enterprise, you have to have a team. You know, what is a law 48 of 48 laws of power? Isolation is fatal. And so when we think about the disruption that's happened just within the Black home, a lot of these 75% of female-run households, think about this, bro. So when we grew up, that was the number. We were always told, oh, yeah, 75% of the households, Black households, are ran by women. Okay, let's do our history. Where did these women come from? I lived in the house with one that came from the Deep South. I remember my mama told me, she said, Trevor, I didn't even know we was poor. I went to high school and my high school teacher told me I was poor. Before then, we were happy. Right. But my mom reminds me of that story and the way and what that meant to me, because I remember, you know, I saw family pictures. You know, I've lived long enough to see a cohesive family, you know, not judgmental, just as happy eating the ribs and playing down south. I remember dirt roads. That's how old I am. And so the fast forward where people don't talk to each other anymore, there's all of these grievances. And I just think about how blessed we were when it seemed like we didn't have anything. And, you know, my mom was coming from a perspective, okay, coming up to Kentucky, you know, I'm getting out of this. Since I've been told I'm poor, let me go somewhere where, according to this marketing concept, I can enrich myself. I never forget, on subject and off, I remember one of my courses, and this is when I was getting my associate's degree. It was a history course. There was a strategic campaign to get Black women from the South to teach up north. I know I have the book somewhere. I don't have time to look for it. There was a specific campaign to get Black teachers, Black women teachers, particular. This is when integration was occurring, to go up north, to leave the South. Not Black women in the East Coast or up north to go elsewhere. No, I specifically want Black women from the South to disperse up north. I mean, let's think about it. The strong Black woman, that's a real dynamic. You know, this is order. This represents order. And at a time, there was an order within our community. You know, what do we say in the Bible? You know, in order, in God's order. And so when it was incentivized, no, go to the city, you know, place the priority of teaching other people's kids over your own, place the priority of, you know, let me enrich myself over, you know, how do I pour into this household? Because this is back when our families had like 8 and 9 aunts and uncles, because that was wealth. You know, we've been endowed with this land. Okay, maybe I don't have a Mercedes Benz, but I got 6 different human beings right here that if I show them how to do something with their hands, I show them how to work, I show them how to study. This is endless potential. This 40 acres we got, this 5 acres we got is going to by nature expand if they understand the value of it. But once again, you're not going to protect what you don't value. If this snake came to you and said, hey, this apple, what you're going to get from biting this apple is better than what you got from what put you here, and history repeats itself. And so once again, this is on both of us as men. I remember I'm gonna say guilty, but it was a learning lesson. Come 13 years old, Death Row Records hit. You could not tell me. I still had hair at that time. And so, you know, I could twist my hair up and, you know, I remember we used to go get the Dickies. You know, when mama wasn't around, I'd have my pants sagging. You couldn't have told me I wasn't going to be the next old dog in Lexington, Kentucky. If you was at my school and my classes with all me and the homies, we were West Coast G's. And, you know, some of the cats was East Coast, but the most part, we was West Coast G's when Death Row Records hit. Tupac, Snoop, Dogg Pound. Okay, come what later? 95 P and all of that hit. Oh, everybody turned into players from the South stacking G's. After that, but do you see what I'm saying? And so as a man, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is what it's going to take to impress the opposite sex. You know, just like back in our grandparents' day, man, I'm not going to entertain you if you can't feed me, right? That used to be a justifiable standard, whether or not a righteous, strong-minded Black woman is going to choose somebody. What can you do? Now it's basically, if you got a bag, I'm not going to ask you how you had it. I'm not going to ask you how you had to compromise yourself, as long as you got a bag. The thing back then, our women understood sustainability of a family. When I think about the color purple, yes, I've heard so many stories about my family and the things that my grandmother endured. But when I look at my family, when I look at my aunties, ain't nobody starving. We all have our problems, right? But at the end of the day, because of my grandmother's sacrifices, to put up with, okay, hey, this system isn't, it's not nice to me, but I understand if I keep this unit together, my progeny are going to have a better opportunity to do a little bit better. And so now I do the math right now of looking at, where are we at right now as a family, as a unit. Take my Claiborne name away. I come from a stock of human beings mixed with another stock of human beings up here. Where are we at? What is our position to do the basic thing of feeding ourselves? And so we see, if I want a consistent diet, I got to go patronize somebody else. Okay, take emotions out of it. Well, what do you do about it? Well, you realize, okay, you got to have land where the land exists. Any successful operation, you got to have work. You got to put in work. Okay, well, we have millions of our brothers right now that's locked up that's doing agricultural work for pennies on the dollar. So it's happening anyway. But once again, it's marketed. Oh, you don't want to do ag in prison. And in the free world, we're told, no, let somebody else do that. So what we don't want to do as a people, I can't speak for everybody. So I say within my home, I don't want my children in a world where they have to be subject to anybody's whim. I don't like people that are 5'11". And so on Tuesdays, I'm gonna just come by and lash everybody who's 5'11". We think that's irrational, but we were marketed that somehow sitting on the phone all day. If an alien came down, couldn't hear nothing, this is what they would see humans doing. Why are they sitting next to each other? It was marketed that this is a thing to do. I'm not coming from a place, I've transcended. No. But saying that to say, when we think about agriculture, how do we reassert ourselves in agriculture? Before talking about getting to a bag, before talking about, we're just going to blow up and get wealthy, we have to talk about it. It has to become something that we not only talk about, but value. Not only talk about and value, but something that we protect. Let me in the city. Okay, man, I done got this great idea. Now I'm going to just jump in it. No, first, be of service. Be of service. Are there people that already have land that need help? We know one of the dynamics in black ag in particular is a lot of farmers are aging out. And the offspring did the same thing we did back in the 50s, 60s. We went north. North meaning just elsewhere. I ain't staying on this country road. I'm going to ATL. I'm going to Houston. I'm going to we're leaving. And so our generation, there's many advantages we have as far as technology. In general, we have more access to capital. But that ability to know the value of something real, tangible, that appreciates versus something that looks good on the surface, that's eating us up. Agriculture is a $1 trillion sector. Black farmers, these are black primary operators, only 0.2% of ag revenue sales. To me, as a man, I feel like I can't even hold my head up until I've reasserted myself in that. It's the thing you have to earn, right? And I think it's unavoidable. We have to be able to feed our families, literally, theoretically, metaphorically. This isn't something that happens overnight. It has to become a common value. You can't beat nobody over the head and make them value, hey, I want you to be healthy. And for you to be healthy, you got to do it this way. It's not going to work like that. The same day that it got marketed for us to not be a part of it, we have to be able to market the importance of it. And it's that serious. Nearly Fuller, law of compensation. If I don't like the message you're emitting to me, I'm not going to sit here and waste time asking you to stop emitting it. I'm going to emit one greater, the same or better. And so just as hard as images, tend to make these little caricatures of black people in agriculture, we got to go extra hard making it cool, because we've made these rappers look good, and look how they're falling like dominoes right now. Some of the rappers I grew up looking up to, like, wow, one day I want to be an entrepreneur like this, out the trunk, hopping across the screen, turned up, bling, bling. And then you get older and conscious, you realize, like, man, these people have no souls. These people have no souls. At some point in their time, it's not judgment. It's just you realize, like, wow, what I thought I wanted, this material, these beads, hey, you give me land, I give you beads. These beads ain't what they're cracked up to be. We have horrible relationships. I've cut everybody down around me because I was pursuing this objective. And then you get to the top and all you can do is go down. And so the beauty of B1AG, the beauty of this moment right now that we have is we got no direction to go but up. And I tend to believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that learning how to feed ourselves and all of the intricate processes within that is a great start. That's what I mean by black to the garden. You know, we all say, I want to get close to you. Lord, 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 it's going bad. Let me get close to you. I put y'all in the garden. If you've gone to church 2 times, if you read that Bible 2 times, if you've read your Quran 2 times, whatever mindset you come from, it all started in a place where we had to produce what it was that sustained us. And to the degree we go back to the garden, to the degree we learn how to cooperate with one another. Hey, you're good at this. I'm good at this. You're faster with this than me, but I have better spatial ability. Hey, I can walk farther than you, so I'm gonna see how far this land goes out. You have this weird relationship with these plants, man, where you just make them grow real well. Woman, you know how to process these and turn these into something. So saying that to say it's first valuing it. Let's talk about it, then value it. Once we value it, we protect it. Once it's protected, then we can enhance it. Order of operations.
And at the end of the day, Black people, Black folks, kin folks, we got to value ourselves. We need to value the things that helped us get to this point in survival. We need to value survival skills. We need to value the land. We need to value the earth. We need to value each other. We place more value in things than we place in ourselves. You see those images, but those aren't the only images. We need to show the world what our true images are. We don't see enough images of that of us being a strong, cohesive family unit. Those strong, cohesive family units all work together to make sure that they all survive. We're all value added.
That was the genius of Miss Rosetta. And so her book, she understood shock value. She was a history teacher as well. And trying to figure out, now, how can I get people to know their history and not be beaten down? Be proud of what you've been able to be resilient and overcome. But she started all of her books. She has a series, so I was fortunate to get them. I got them all signed. She's actually the one that put me on as far as being an author. And so she started them off with these negative images, showing us all of these horrible things that people thought about us and depictions. But each one of them ends. She has saga of a Black family, saga of a Black woman, saga of a Black child. But at the end, it shows positive images. And so that goes to the law of compensation. Everything that's negative, meet it with something positive. And last but not least, my little shameless plug. This is my approach. I'm not a smart man, but we've done enough gardening programs and had all of these beautiful experiences.
Yes.
Let me counter that negative. Colorful. These are melanated kids enjoying the outdoors, doing gardening, engaging. My son doesn't even know how to say his name yet, but he said Farmer Brown. I would call him in here, but he's going to turn my desk up. That's what it's all about. My kid is not my child. Neither of my children are going to have this abstract concept of agriculture. If I disappear from the planet today, their first interaction with their first relationship to existence, this land, they saw the people that they come from, mother and father, engaged in agricultural activities. They've been to farm tours. The first farmers they ever met were Black farmers. My babies know more Black farmers than the average adult I know. That's what I stunt. I can stunt like big time baby. I stunt like this is what we do. This is our life. This is how my children see the world. I understand the degree that as a father, as a member of the community, I contribute the degree that they're able to watch. Because education of the future is I need to see what y'all doing so I can emulate. This thing, I'm going to just sit up and read and suddenly be educated. Those days are done. But this is the opportunity of B1AG. We can create localized education to fit localized needs. Food security is needed everywhere we go. And so what we've learned with our model just over the last few years, hey, this works. You know, I are just the smart. We're not smart people. We're ambitious. We like our craft. We love our people. And so B1AG is this model. How can we franchise the concept of cultivating life? There is no leader. The code is the leader.
Believe that. And through those programs that we facilitated, we've seen hundreds and thousands of kids enjoy themselves, have fun, grow in themselves, find their confidence, spark new thoughts just from growing. It's a growth state of mind. We've got to get in a growth state of mind. We need to value each other like we value, like how you value your cars and your clothes and your weaves and your eyelashes and all that. We need to value each other like that.
I just want to keep you healthy. I just want you to live to see the next day. I lose nothing by you seeing the next day with the level of dignity.
And it's simple. It's that simple. The dirt is simple, but it's very complex. But we got to get back to that dirt. Gotta love each other, man. We have to have that growth mindset. We have to value what is truly valuable and not just what is socially marketed to us. No, you have to know what's valuable. We have to know that you have to know that your family is valuable. You have to know that that dirt is valuable. You have to know that having the concept and the knowledge of growing food is valuable. It's a survival skill. People gloss, I say survival skill, but I think it just glosses past their ears. It's a survival skill. We've been socially marketed to compensate somebody else to help us survive instead of and losing the knowledge of how to actually survive.
Our kids learn how to read before they know how to produce food. That's kind of backwards. I can't eat words. It don't matter what language I'm speaking. The first thing it had to be marketed us that there was anything more important than teaching offspring how to eat. It had to be marketed because nothing else in nature. I'm going to prioritize you learn how to play before I teach you how to feed yourself to be able to play. Nothing else does that. That is a mark that lets us know how thrown off we are.
But that's why we got to go back to the garden. We have to go back to the original concepts of survival, of community, of the village. These are things that, sometimes you have to innovate and create something new. But a lot of times, all you have to do is just go back to what works. You have a baseline. Okay, this has worked. This has been proven to work over a course of a long time. So therefore, it works. So when we get confused or we get led astray, socially marketed astray, we have to go back to what works. And the perfect reset of any people is going back to the ground, going back to that dirt, going back to agriculture, because we all got to eat. We all need to survive if you're ever going to thrive. So, although they tried with the negative connotations from slavery and everything, we're smarter than that. We're smarter than that. We can counter those negative images. We can counter those negative images. This Black History Month, we know of great agricultural innovators. We talk about them every day, from Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, and we're going to continue to speak on even more. New innovators in Black agriculture. And believe it or not, a lot of them are Black women. Beautiful Black women.
When the Black women get a hold of it, that's the secret weapon.
Man, because they make it so sweet. They make it
I've
that
watched
much
it happen
better.
in real time.
And shoot, all these Black men talking about where all the good women at. Hey, you might need to go back to the field. You might need to go back, go Black to the garden. And that's where you're gonna find your Eve. So B1AG, we had this discussion today, trying to debunk these negative stereotypes in agriculture. You know, yes, deeply rooted in slavery, but also, more covertly marketed to us through social marketing. So let's get our mind black to the garden, black to valuing ourselves, and black to loving ourselves. You know, we're not just talking about growing food. No, it is a growth mindset, but it's understanding the elements that are needed to grow. Just like you need dirt, a seed, water, sunlight. For us as people, hey, we need the black woman, the black man, that when we create these black children, to cultivate them to further our legacy, our true wealth, where our true value is hidden, where our true value lies in each other. So, if you really want to know something,
Learn how to grow something.
B1AG. Y'all take it easy. That was their daily bread.